Welcome to the Sheds. Today we're shedding light on the Public Protector of South Africa. Molweni, ma'am.
Molo Nkanyiso.
How are you, ma'am?
Good yourself.
I'm all right. Mhlekazi, you are in the presence of the Public Protector of South Africa, Advocate Busisiwe Mkhwebane.
No, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much.
Mama, let's start where we are and then see how far back we can go. You sent 31 questions to the president for Palapal, and what followed was not necessarily a response to the 31 questions, but your suspension. Just recently, your deputy, Sis Kolega Galeka, was acting on your behalf, then released a report exonerating the president, saying the president has done nothing wrong. How do you feel, and what's your view on that?
I wouldn't want to say how do I feel. But then as the public protector of the country, indeed, it's very critical, Uguti. I need to mention that I issued the 31 questions. Actually, there was a complaint from the ATM, President Mr. Vuyo Zungula, to the public protector about the alleged issue evaluation of Section 96 of the Constitution and the Executive Members Ethics Act. Which says members of the executive are not allowed to do work, are not supposed to expose themselves to a conflict of interest, are supposed to behave in a way that they promote good governance and they don't violate any laws. So after receiving the complaint, and you remember Executive Members Ethics Act, it obliges the public protector to investigate within 30 days. And it's a must. So Guatina as public protector, we are not complying much. We are striving to do that. So after receiving the complaint, then speedily I allocated it to a very chief investigator. I said, let's start working on this, because once I receive a complaint, we normally would give the person who's implicated an opportunity to say, we've received a complaint, can you tell us your side of the story? We say an audi alteram partem role. Then that's where the questions came from. Where did you get the money? How did you get it? Is it foreign currency? Why were you having so much money in your compound? Did you declare it? And all those questions. Then, unfortunately, the letter was sent on the 7th of June 2022, and then on the 8th of June 2022, and then, in fact, on the 9th of June, 2 days after, I received a letter again from the president suspending me. Now, it didn't start there, but then the question was, the matter was before court, where I was challenging, interdicting the suspension. We were waiting for the judgment. And coincidentally, on the very same day, we received an information from the Western Cape saying we will be issuing the judgment the following day on the 10th of June. Now, he couldn't even wait for the 10th of June. Then I got the letter of suspension. It was not sent to me directly. It was sent to my PA, who got it, I think, around 4 or 5, because Mina was not aware about that. I only saw that when I was asked a question by a journalist. We understand you are suspended.
I know.
Yes.
So you only heard about it from the journalist?
From the journalist. And when that was happening, I then opened ETV. And then I saw it, it was all over the news.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do you think the report of the acting public protector touched on the 31 questions you've sent? Do you feel that they were addressed? And obviously, if you did not continue with the work because of your suspension, I'm not sure if you would be able to say, I would still have found that the president has done something wrong one way or the other, based on 1, 2, 3.
Because I haven't investigated the matter, but on perusing the report, I think that was your opening question. If you go to the report, you go to page 72, I think until page 84, that's where the 31 questions were kind of they tried to answer them because remember he was given those questions. He requested for extension. I think it took about 3 months or whatever to answer those 31 questions. They are not answered specifically. They are so general. I mean, they are very much broad. And also abdicating responsibility. I mean, you hear now, Mr. Ndlovu, Mr. Hasim, or whoever. So it's not directly saying, I did the following or I did the following. And the concerning thing, which I also said, is that there is an existing report of Judge, previous Chief Justice Ngob, which is very clear. They did their investigation. They found that indeed the president has a case there's a prima facie case to answer, like what I'm facing currently in Parliament, for him to then answer those questions. In his responses, he indeed acknowledged that he knew about the money and it's foreign currency. Why cash? When there's auction, you cannot trade in cash. $1 is not a trading allowance in South Africa. Even if it's his money and everything, he's the president. And constitutionally, you must not even expose yourself to a conflict of interest. That's the starting point, because you are exposing yourself to all these questions. You need to live above any other person. Secondly, no paid work. He acknowledged at ANC conference that I am a farmer, I trade in livestock. Was he ever asked? Yes. Was he ever asked directly? So I think in a way it was not correct because it perpetuates the issue of criminality in the country. There's this young man now who's found with some 1.2 million cash is arrested. There's a lady who was arrested last year or early this year, OR Tambo, with foreign currency. Foreign currency is not a trading currency in the country. It's questionable then for the president to have that. Unfortunately, the Deputy Public Protector is still new in the post. She is still not yet very conversant about the Public Protector Act. And the other concerning thing is that even if the other institutions are investigating, she was obligated by the Public Protector Act, Section 6.4, to officially refer the matters to the Reserve Bank, because it relates to the foreign currency, to SARS, because it relates to the issues of not declaring. The Public Protector Act allows you to do that. You cannot just say the others are investigating.
You know, because I'm tempted to say suspended public protector.
Yes.
You know, once you are subjected to certain processes, that becomes your name, like as a suspended public protector.
Imagine.
But the fact is that she's the public protector of South Africa. You don't have many months left, Mama, and your case is still going on to determine whether or not you are fit to hold office, whatever that means. You've also been subjected to a very harsh process, which includes termination of legal representation and all sorts of things. Do you think you are being treated fairly as a public protector in the process to establish whether or not you are fit to hold office?
You know, I'm not treated fairly at all, and hence I've been saying to South Africans, if they can treat your public protector, a constitutional institution like this, then you as a South African who doesn't have the way of defending yourself, it means you are in a very serious trouble. Especially where you even find the Secretary General of the ANC and some members of the executive commenting the way they are commenting when they deal with my matter. Let's start from the last year, where I said I'm participating under protest. And it was because I was saying the suspension was unlawful. The Western Cape High Court confirmed that the suspension is unlawful. The president was acted unlawful, illegally. It was retributive because of the Phala investigation. That was clear. They appealed within a day, DA, president within 2 days.
Yes.
That was an agent application. That's aside. Appearing there, I gave the process an opportunity because I said, I can't say I'm not above the law. I want to account, but then under protest. Then the proceedings started. the way the chairperson dealt with me and my legal team. It was so unfair. The fact that Mailham, who is a husband to Mazon, really, where have you seen that? A husband sitting there and judging the case of the complainant, who is the wife. Firstly, Jay, let's not go into details. Suguti Mhlambe, you are legally trained and whatever. Is there fairness there? The very same chairperson who commented Mangi Yogusa a report with Justice Committee, because he sits there. Once he said, no, we don't want to hear all this ranting and whatever, we can't allow such incompetence. Already before he was chosen. Now we fast forward. I'm appearing, there's that, I applied for their recusal. Any issue which we were bringing forward with my legal team, Advocate Mbofu, no, chairperson, you cannot behave like this. The worst part, because I've been saying, Imina, you know what, let's go to court. My legal team was saying, no, let's wait a bit. The worst part was when I was sick. The 13th of September, I couldn't appear. I was indeed sick. I was taken to the doctor. You know what he did? He didn't want to hear that. Before there was a witness there, Mr. Jane, testifying, then they decided, no, she will continue to testify. Okay, legal team, you can be excused. How do you do that? Because I must be there. The Concord said, I must have full legal representation. You proceed. Even if you are a criminal out there, you can hear. If Uispo is sick that day, nothing will proceed.
The matter is postponed.
The matter is postponed. No, judge.
And you have your medical...
Exactly. Even besides that. But then if you hear that the person is sick, is at the hospital, whether there's a medical certificate or not. Yes, fortunately, it was early. I went to the doctor and the doctor managed to issue that. Then he didn't care. The members of the DA, Abu Gondwe, the members of ACDP, Abu Sukras, they just proceeded as if there's nothing. I mean, where is the issue of fairness? Yes, they must do the work expediently with fairness. Those two things goes together. So, unfortunately, that's what I'm facing. I applied for recusal. He refused to recuse himself. We took it to court. The judges, those 3 judges at Western Cape were scared as well. They didn't want to deal with the Marys. They said, no, wait for the abuse until it's done before you come back to us. But then we appealed, and then at least they agreed and they acknowledged that, you know what, we might have erred, maybe the higher court might come to a different conclusion. And actually this is happening a lot, which the public should know, that something like this happens. That's how our democracy works. The judges might have erred. The higher court will listen to the matter, might agree or disagree with them. That's how democracy works, but not with me. With me, the 4 reports were before the committee based on the issue of incompetence. Out of the 412 reports I've issued since 2016, because then it's because I've touched the untouchables. I would say capital, the report, the Reserve Bank, you shouldn't touch the Reserve Bank of the country. The issue Friede, dairy farm. It also relates to your dairy farmers. Means blacks shouldn't be into that particular business. Then the issue of the so-called rogue unit, where it involves then the minister, who's executive, who has all the powers. The Busasa report, it involves the president. Also, it's a very powerful person. So I'm trying to say, e-review or e-appeal, it's normal. It shows that I don't have unfettered powers. It shows that where I've erred, it might be taken to court. The court might come to a different conclusion. But Tina, when we investigate, it was based on the investigation before RAS. But in a nutshell, I'm not treated fairly. And it's even worse because We will appeal, but recently then there is another scandal.
You asked for the chairperson of the inquiry into fitness to hold office, Richard
Janji.
Janji, to recuse himself. That was dismissed when funding for your legal people was terminated. You were told to continue under legal aid. When the tapes, which I want us to go to, which speaks of a lot by Mayor Sol Recidivist or Jenatomet Justin Charles, also happened. When all of this pointing to a possible unfairness of the process is happening, but there seems to be an effort to make sure that this whole inquiry continues, do you think there's a predetermined outcome to have you found unfit to hold the public office of the public protector?
Yeah, definitely. There is. I mean, they've concluded, if maybe we had a lot of lawyers as members of that committee serving before that committee, like Abu Heron, for instance, who a good party is legally qualified. Unfortunately, Dr. Gondwe is apparently legally qualified, but the way she behaves, it's kind of questionable. Janji is not legally qualified, and all other many members of the ANC, remember, they are leading. They would behave, or they would have been able to shield their unreasonableness and biasness, in a way, because you want to achieve a certain outcome. And that was confirmed by the late Tina Jumat-Peterson. By God's grace, she decided to approach my husband and say, they've sent me Upemi Majodina and Richard Janji. We can make this process disappear. After they themselves, she says in those recordings, which unfortunately some of the journalists like Abu Karen Moore and whatever, they would want to push a narration, no, it's hearsay, and there's no hearsay. My husband is alive. There is a recording of the Tina Jumat-Peterson saying, this is what is going to happen. So, secondly, we requested him to recuse himself. Remember, it was before we released the recordings. The WhatsApps are there. There's no hacking when other countrymen and women who are also hell-bent to bring down their own were saying, no, hacking is possible. You cannot request a person to recuse themselves because of that. Anyway, it's what Advocate Madonsela said. She wrote in her Twitter page. So, and that information is very clear what transpired between the two. They met at OR Tambo, and she said, you know what, now they are accusing Janji. She's under pressure. She's not delivering what they are saying, but she's very angry with Dina, with the Majodin, because they didn't get the ministerial positions. Remember, it was after the reshuffle.
Yes.
And even myself, I didn't get, and we worked so hard with Janji and them at Nazareth, assisting Cyril. She's saying so. And on top of that, I even competed for the position with the non-vola of second DSU. And we are angry, and Pemi is angry. You know what? Maybe if you can just give them something. They are saying they've sent me, and they are changing the process, because now they are no longer going to call you to give oral evidence, your wife to give oral evidence. They are now going to decide on paper, which is wrong, because their directives are very clear. All those 25 witnesses gave their oral evidence. My witnesses gave oral. I am in the middle of my testimony. Any law student will tell you, Uguti, then where have you seen all of a sudden things are changing? Is that fair? Now they are changing that because they are helping to move. And Tina is saying, no, they want to impeach, but this one's because they are angry towards the system. They would want to be given money, and then they'll go away. And, what do you think? Pemi is very greedy. 2050, no. How about 200,000 each? And so it's there. That's why I'm saying, by God's grace, she came. she delivered the message. And how do I appear before people who are, I mean, even yourself, gay, and not me, because Mina, sometimes some people treat me as if I'm not human. Exactly. Maybe yourself, put yourself in my shoes. Your wife, yes, is appearing before court, and there are 3 judges there, and one of the judges coming and say, if you can pay so much money, the case will disappear.
What do you say when you first hear this? Your husband has been approached by Tina Chuma Peterson and say, this is the situation, this is what will be demanded. I just step back. Your first reaction when you hear that, actually, and I think that's the first time there's a direct practical evidence of a plot against you using the process. How do you react? What do you say to your husband?
Oh, I was shocked. In fact, I thought I said, no, man, you must be joking. It can't be. The very same Tina, may her soul rest in peace, is the member of the committee. It can't be, And then she's saying to me, hey, you know what? I was quiet because at the end of the day, I thought this is an opportunity for me to bring these people to book. And I was waiting for the other ones as well to arrive. And then so that money is available, then I was going to trap them. I said, no, you can't do that. The police must be doing that. Remember, they record, and it's not your money which is supposed to do that. You need to work with the police. And
he was playing some detective.
And I'm saying, no, but what if it's your word against her? He said, no, I've got WhatsApp messages. Okay, let me see. And that's not only that which I'm having, I also have recordings. No. Serious. Then can I listen? So that's when I said, go to the police. Report this matter as urgently as possible, because you are not supposed to do this on yourself. And the worrisome issue is that when I listen, indeed, that's what they are doing. They are changing the process. Actually, the comments of some of them, before even Janji announced that, no, we are going to be doing the process, or we are going to change. Now we are no longer calling you. It will be in writing. So it was confirming what the late was saying. So unfortunately, again, for them, is that she, though they used her for that, whatever she told us, and she was even giving us some, or him some advice. No, don't tell your wife, don't tell Dali. But on the other hand, she says, no, but you must tell Dali to conduct an audit, because, we are expected to appear in this committee online, but you find that I've got 3 meetings I'm attending. Where's the fairness in that particular issue? And this one will be saying we've got the quorum, members are there, but people have just logged in. They are busy with other. You don't do that.
Follow-up advocate to say, I think you've taken the evidence. I think you've called a press briefing again with the recording as well, then submitted all the information to the police. How far is the process with the police in terms of investigation? Do you think it's moving, it's not moving?
I think the police are moving. Remember, that matter was not opened by me. It was opened by my husband. And why did I call the media briefing? I've been subjected to a situation where when I raised the issue to recuse themselves, there are WhatsApp messages, there were those stories. And then I said, actually, there are also recordings which we will avail. It was before they were submitted to the police, I think. And then after they were submitted, that's when I then said, then I will play these recordings, share them as widely as possible. They are more than, I think the other one is 25 minutes, the other one is around 27 or 24 minutes. But then what we did was just to play snippets where Tina is mentioning Janji and Majodina. They've sent him, they'll change the process. Janji is angry, but Janji also will be competing for the chairpersonship of Western Cape. You know, and exactly that's what happened. How? And he did. And he lost. So some people were laughing. Oh, we should do this 200,000. He wanted to buy some people, you know, pays them so that the branches, because I mean, anyway, we've seen that some people can buy a conference and pay people money to do that. So the police are proceeding. It's my husband who opened the case. Now the hearsay story, because even to the chairperson, he says he's waiting for my application, which was unnecessary, but then I didn't have legal representation. Now we said we will brief counsel just to apply for that. And my husband is also willing to go there and testify again as the person. They would say from me is hearsay,
Yes.
but the person who was sitting with her and play those recordings.
That has been a fascinating conversation, part one, with the Public Protector of South Africa. Stay tuned for more.